Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and this will be the long-awaited review for the Hot Toys 1/4 scale Heath Ledger Dark Knight Joker. Finally here in front of me, and this is going to be an interesting figure to review. There are many things about this that just don't really satisfy me, and there are also things about it, like the way it looks right now as I'm looking at it, that kind of make me almost want to just get past all that stuff and just enjoy what I have here. But there are definitely things that need to be said, need to be addressed, and questioned. So, I hope you enjoy this review. Settle in. Probably going to be a long one. I'll try and keep it down to about half an hour. You know how it is. But this will be a nice in-depth review. We're going to look at all the stuff it comes with. And when I show the accessories, I think the best way to do that is each accessory, I'll get the figure to hold the accessory and pose it with the accessory rather than just holding up the guns individually and just, you know, showing you like that. I'll actually pose him with every little thing that he comes with. And I'm also going to do a comparison between this and the DX11 Heath Ledger Joker up there, the 1/6 scale figure from a few years back by the same company. A lot of people are saying that that figure up there is definitely better than this newer quarter scale Heath Ledger Joker. So I am not going to compare the two in this review. I'm going to actually just review this figure in front of me, tell you everything you need to know about this figure, and then separately, because I think it's so kind of, it's going to be such an interesting comparison, I want to keep it as a separate thing. So this is just going to be a review on this figure, and then later on I will bring you a comparison between this one and the DX11. So hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. First thing I want to let you know about is that the groin grabber that the figure comes with, now this would just, like usual with these Hot Toys figures, but just in case you're new to the hobby, this would go in there, and then this basically just goes between his legs and stops him from falling forward, in theory. But I have had to take this out completely, and luckily, from a much older purchase, I think it was like a doll stand or something, I intended to use this one with maybe a NECA 1/4 scale big chap alien, but it's come in handy for the Joker here. Now, because his shoes turn up at the front, he just will not stand on his own. You know, you definitely wouldn't want a chance leaving him on display like that without the aid of a stand. But even with this groin grabber stand that they gave you, it just doesn't, it's very obvious that no thought really went into this, because it doesn't do the job properly. It's very frustrating. You'll be trying to get him to balance and look natural, and you'll be fighting against this the whole way, because this is the same size as one, that you'd use with a 1/6 scale figure, I believe. So it just doesn't seem like much thought went into this. So I've had to fix that myself, and I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have one of these to hand. Now, they just go around his waist and actually tuck into the tops of his pockets there on his pants. So from the front, you can't even really see it at all. And if you display him with his legs together like this, then you won't even see that the stand is there. He'll just look like he's standing there on his own. And he does look very, very cool right now. I mean, the way the light is catching his eyes and the pose he's in, just kind of like, it sums him up really. That's the Joker. So that's the first thing that really, really bugged me, was the fact that this was absolutely useless. And it was very obvious that not much, I mean, R&D, forget about it. Not much time was taken when designing the stand. So that is no good, and you will have to get yourself one of these if you want to be, safe, peace of mind, knowing that he's not going to topple over, because you don't want a head sculpt like that just hurtling to the ground. It's not going to do it any favors. So not only does the base look rather tacky because of this really unnecessary why so serious stuff going on at the front, just like with the Batman Begins base, he had the same thing, but the Bats was actually quite cool. I still would rather that was not there. But not only do you have this, it's potentially very nice looking, because the bit that actually stands on the surface feels very nice, and it's a very cool design, very, very nicely done, but did not need these. They should be magnetized or something so you could just take them away. Again, slight lack of consideration put into that side of things. The regular kind of, I don't know if this actually has a protective layer of plastic. Usually they do, but anyway, It's nice other than these bits, but the groin grabber is basically useless, and he will not stand on his own because, like I said before, the front of his shoes curve upwards, so there's no front stability at the front of the foot. Just wanted to quickly mention about all of his accessories here. The only things that are really missing are, it would have been nice to get some handcuffs like you got with the DX11, the 1/6 scale version, and also the RPG, or the bazooka, rocket launcher, whatever you want to call it. That would have been a cool accessory. I'm pretty sure the Entebbe one came with that. But this one certainly comes with some things that the Entebbe one didn't come with. The lead pipe there is a new thing. I haven't really seen that with a Hot Toys Heath Ledger Joker before. The detonator is a first for me, even though the DX11 exclusive, I think, came with one of those. Now, it would have been nice if these were die-cast metal, but they're not. They're all plastic. None of the guns have any die-cast metal parts that I can feel anyway. I mean, this one in particular feels very light. But it comes with a good amount of hands. You'll have plenty to be doing pose-wise with those. However, the hands without the gloves don't have that really cool touch that the DX11 figure had. The 1/6 scale version up there, his ungloved hands had traces of makeup all over them and dirty fingernails. They're so good that I actually use them with a custom Michael Myers figure. That one right in the center with his hands just relaxed by his sides. Those are actually the DX11 Joker hands because they're so well painted. Whereas these, they're well painted, but they don't have any of the little touches like the makeup around the fingers. There's no real dirt and grime on these. They're pretty clean looking, you know? So they didn't go to that extra effort like they did previously, which there's a lot of that with this figure, you know? The DX11 Joker had two different heads, both with completely different expressions and just completely different sculpts. And it also had the PERS, moving eyeball system, so that you, on the smaller one, you can remove the back of the head. There's a little stick in the middle of his head there, and you just move the eyes any direction you want. And it gives you infinite possibilities with poses. And they did include that same function with the big Dark Knight Rises Batman, but they took it away with the, where is he? I forget. one of these is the original Hot Toys one. Yeah, it's confusing. I basically have my 1/4 scale Batman Begins Hot Toys displayed as the First Night Outlook. But they definitely took away the PERS. There's the Hot Toys cowl on the NECA body. That's the Frankenbat, consisting of different parts from different figures. Just allowing me to have a Batman Begins Batman that can actually pose because it's the NECA body and, there's all joint system, rather than the rubber suit that you get with the more high-end Batman Begins suits. But yeah, that head sculpt there should have the PERS system, but they took it away. And then they continue to take it away with this version here. So this figure should have moving eyes, but it doesn't. So I've always said, once you establish something and it works, don't take it away. Always move forward and evolve, progress. Don't go backwards, and that's what Hot Toys are doing. Quite frankly, they're going backwards. Something that absolutely baffles me is if we have two different head sculpts with this figure, they both seem to be the exact same sculpt, down to the hair, position of every strand of hair, the expression, the eye position, the mouth, lines on the forehead, just painted slightly different on this exclusive version. But they are both the exact same sculpt, as far as I can tell. And if they are different, then what's the point? Because they look the same. And this is not from a scene in the film. Originally, when I first saw the prototype images that were first revealed to us when people were pre-ordering this thing, it kind of seemed like a cool tribute, like an artist kind of just their own thing. They wanted to show half the face as the Joker and then the other half as Heath Ledger. But it's not, it kind of is that, but it doesn't really look enough like Heath to me. It obviously does, but I don't think the mass-produced head here has really nailed it the way that the prototype image did. I don't have the prototype image to hand right now, but I can remember in my head it was very, very impressive to look at, and I just think this is a lot softer, and just the likeness is there, but it's just not enough to make a fuss about this. You know, if you are getting the regular version of this figure that doesn't come with this spare head, no biggie, you know, honestly. I won't be displaying the figure with this head on it because it doesn't make any sense, you know. It's not even like the makeup has just been kind of smushed off his face from confrontations with Batman or just sweating. It doesn't look like sweat's done this. It just looks like it's, I don't know. This side is really cool. I like the smudged makeup, but I know what they were going for, but it just, to me, it didn't land with the final product with this head. Very underwhelming. You know, to me, if I had, you know, got to get the cash together, find someone to customize this, repaint the whole face, and completely rehair it with rooted hair. So that's what I want to do with this head sculpt. So I am glad I have it, because I am going to eventually one day get this turned into something incredible. And then, you know, that'll be interesting. But until then, the regular head sculpt that you get certainly pleases me, depending on how I've got him set up. It's just the way I got him looking right now. It's really making it work. But we'll see. We've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the purple coat. So maybe we'll move on to that now. Yeah, this made me laugh. Do not put the mask onto the head sculpt, otherwise the head sculpt may become damaged. Well, what's the bloody point then? All right, before we get to the coat stuff, let me just quickly blaze through the instruction book, because some of this is either going to be hilarious or very informative. So, interchangeable head sculpt. The tip of the hair sculpture is very sharp. Be careful when handling. Two styles of head sculpt can be interchanged as shown, although, well, that's controversial because I could say stuff there, but I won't. I'll be nice. Overcoat and grenades. Yep, magnet. Although my magnet on this, at least the bit that's supposed to be here that this collar bit connects with, I can feel where the magnet is, but they don't magnate to each other. You know, they don't. It doesn't seem to work, or it's a very weak magnet. So I'll have to have a look at that once the coat is back on the figure. But what else we got here? So you can just pause that and read it if you like. And over here, pause that and read it if you like. And what's this about? The vest style. Remove the overcoat and blazer as shown. Fold the sleeves no more than once. Okay. Then pull up the shirt sleeves to the elbow and complete the style. Do not bend the arms backwards. Okay. Well, that's pretty obvious, but I guess some people need telling. Arms. There you go. Pause that. Have a read. Legs. Pause that. Have a read. Weapons and accessories. Use the indicated hands to hold the weapons and accessories respectively. So I guess pause that and have a butcher's. The indicated area are very sharp. Be careful when handling. Oh, yep. Watch out for those safety pins. But yeah, that was amusing when I first saw that about not putting the mask on their head. It just seems very pointless to me. Once there's the purple overcoat and grey blazer are detachable. The rest of the accessories and outfit are not detachable. Don't try to take them off. Cautions. What's this? Don't rub thinner, benzene, alcohol, corrosive materials. Do not attempt to remove any accessories. And yep, the collar situation, just keep an eye on that. Just, yeah, like it says there, just make sure the collar is up before you put your head sculpt in. And that's it. That's the instructions. All right, now to put his coat back on, you want to take the hands off, obviously, which is very easy to do. To put the hands on and off, the wrist peg is actually quite easy on this figure, which is a nice relief. Now, you'll want to get the arms pretty much in this kind of position to slip the sleeves of the coat and his jacket on. Now, when you do this, I usually do it by, you know, I'll thread the sleeves of his jacket through the sleeves of the coat so that they are one thing and you put them on at the same time. Rather than trying to put this on first and then that on second, sleeves are going to get bunched up and caught on things and it's going to be a nightmare. You'll be there with your tweezers, pulling threads and making things look terrible. So I would very much advise putting the jacket into the sleeves of the coat here, just, you know what I mean, to make it one item of clothing that goes on in one time at the same time. You know, it just makes your life easier. Let me get that done. So there you go. That's what I mean. Just now this is all one piece. The sleeves have been threaded through, and I can just go ahead and slide this on, and that will make my life a lot easier. Okay, now here he is with the jacket and the coat back on. Just let you take a look at that. Now, the issue I'm having is the coat here at the front. It just wraps around him completely and completely conceals any of the suit and the pants underneath. I've had to tuck the coat under his arms and kind of wedge the coat into position to get it to kind of fall naturally where it should be. See these lines straight down, revealing the rest of the suit underneath? That will not happen with a natural drape of the coat. You have to pin the coat in with the elbows like I have here, just kind of get the coat in position, then lock the arms down to keep the coat from closing forward all the way, because it really does just completely cover up everything. And it looks really quite disappointing when you see it like that. Looking at it right now, this looks cool because it looks like there's more weight to the actual coat. It's very thin, and I've got a couple of, well, I've got some actual reference pictures to intersplice with the review, but just to hand, I've just got these old cards. Now, it's interesting with these because I have the actual unedited raw photos from this session, which was the Heath Ledger Dark Knight costume test. So that's what you're going to be seeing in a moment. But with the Photoshop trickery that they've done to these more obviously stylized, pictures from that session, see here on these cards, the coat is the same color as the Hot Toys figure. It's interesting, but that is not the color that the coat actually appears in reality. It's slightly different, but I don't know. We could be getting into the same kind of territory here as with the original 1978 Michael Myers coveralls, where they spruce green, where they charcoal grey, where they navy. It rages on. People debate that one a lot. But we've got a lot of reference pictures, a lot of behind the scenes pictures, and any number of moments from the movie. But the thing with the movie is obviously they've got their color grading, whatever it is they do to the film to make it look more. I mean, they certainly did that with The Dark Knight and Batman Begins. They definitely mess with colors a bit just to give it a mood and a feel. So these pictures have been obviously messed with a fair bit, because as you'll see with the actual raw photos, the coat wasn't anywhere near this shade of purple at all. It was completely different. But these cards, the coat is the same color as the figure's coat. So I don't know, I guess it depends what you're looking at. Maybe the folks at Hot Toys, when they were doing their research and development and developing this coat, they obviously stayed very close to what they had with the DX11 as far as color and material. Not exactly the same color, but you can see they were trying to stick quite close to what they achieved with this, just upscaled it. So there's the thing. So it's important to note that to get it to look as natural as it does right now, and it does look pretty damn cool right now, but I've had to do my own little shenanigans and trickery to get the coat to fall like this. Like I said, by pinning the coat into position, using the elbows and the arms to lock the coat down and make it have that appearance of actual weight to it. Because the coat that he's wearing, it is quite thick, You can just tell, and the shoulder pads as well. It definitely had shoulder pads. So even with his kind of hunched, slouching kind of posture, you could always tell that the quality of the tailoring on the clothes that he was wearing, because he definitely had some shoulder pad action going on. And the figure definitely doesn't have that. And I've seen Entebbe do it in the past, and it's very clever how they did it. They basically just had a little bit of cardboard, thin bit of cardboard in the shoulder, just to keep the shoulders absolutely the shape they should be. And that should have been done with this figure too. They should have inserted some kind of card here, or even hard plastic, a little sheet of plastic, just to keep the I've had to do this myself, and it does look quite straight now, but fresh out of the box, I noticed that quite early on, and I thought to myself, that is not how that looked in the movie. Definitely, the film coat had shoulder pads, and it just kept the shape and the way it draped around him. It was just something that they missed. Now, I want to take a nice close-up look at the head sculpts, but I will remind you that before I shot this review, I did earlier today, outdoors in the natural sunlight, filmed what I call a true light review, which is just a lot of footage of the figure outdoors close up so that you can really get a good look at all the details in natural light. Where is that head sculpt? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so you get to see this head sculpt and this one in the natural light in the true light review. So check that out if you haven't seen it. But here now, with various lights coming from different sources, different angles, from directly above shining down, from behind shining towards his back, give us a nice glow around the back of his head and his shoulders. Big old LED shining right at him over there. Another LED shining right at him over here. And another little LED below him just to catch the light in his eyes. So right now, despite my feelings about wishing this head sculpt had have had rooted hair, which is basically fake hair rather than this sculpted hair, despite that, I will say that I do think he looks very, very good right now, especially since I tweaked that coat and got it to fall a bit more naturally. So I think right now, if he was on the shelf looking like this, wouldn't have much to complain about. And I got to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of people saying that they're canceling their pre-orders, and that's fair enough. But you don't base that on it. That seemed to happen as soon as my unboxing went up. That was just an unboxing. This is the review. You got to watch this and other people's videos and make up your own mind. But at least wait until I've reviewed it before you cancel your pre-orders, because it's not as bad as you might think. I mean, look at it right now. I think it looks very, very good. I'm not saying I forgive all the things that are going on here that don't really satisfy me, but right now I think it looks pretty fantastic. Let's get a look at the face. Now, I think that is Heath Ledger through and through. I do think that the makeup around the eyes could have been done better for a 1/4 scale figure. I mean, it's okay, but that's all it is. It's not like anything like the detail that you see on the custom head sculpts that you see in the collecting world, be it 1/6 scale or 1/4 scale. One that comes to mind, I think, is Mishi Customs. They made the most ridiculously good 1/4 scale Heath Ledger Joker head sculpt. It makes you want to cry. It's that good. Just because, I don't know, could you ever own something like that? You'd have to have some serious buckage. Some serious cash. That's the person, or that's the guys that I would love to send my spare head sculpt to get repainted and rehaired, is Mishi Customs, because there's some serious other talent out there, man. There's too many to think of. I always see so many different posts on Instagram from different people doing fine work. So I really have to do a bit of research on that. If anyone out there watches this who does that kind of thing and you want to approach me and talk about it with me, that would be great. Also, guys out there, I do struggle with views. No matter how much effort I put into the reviews, if be it an hour-long in-depth review, I always do struggle with the views. So I do need your help out there. If you are enjoying these reviews, if you do enjoy the content, if you could share it maybe on your social media, just help it get out there a little bit, help me reach a few more people, and it just really would be a big help. But anyway, let's take a look. Bit of a skew angle there. Now you can see there's where the two sculpts meet here, like there's a big seam right there. So why not just have it go the full hog? And if you're going to have a massive seam right at the front of his head, make the back of the head come off and give you a PERS moving eyeball system. Like I said before, there's no reason to go backwards when you're developing stuff like this. You either want to save money, you're not willing to put in as much money as you were originally for whatever reason, but it still does look very impressive. But I just really wish we had PERS moving eyes with this. Imagine being able to turn the eyes to the left or the right now, like we've been able to do in the past. I mean, it really just, I know from experience, it just brings so many more possibilities, especially for photography. Just wish he could move his eyes. But it is a very strong likeness. And coming back to that point I was making about the paint apps not being as impressive as the custom work. Now, I guess that makes sense. I mean, it's not going to be as, it's a mass-produced product. I don't know how many of these they've made, but, I guess it's not going to be on par with some of the other incredible custom commission-based stuff out there. That makes sense, but it's a little bit underwhelming for the price point and for the amount of experience they've had now making Heath Ledger Joker figures over at Hot Toys. I mean, it's good, but it's not great. But I think the likeness is very good. And everything is just about satisfactory, but at this point in the game, how far we've come, they've been making this guy now for, 10 years? It could be better. It could definitely be better. Look at the side profile. Again, the makeup around the eye, just not really satisfying me there. It just looks a little bit amateur. It's like the blackness or the dark brown almost around the top of his eye there. It just doesn't seem consistent with the kind of messier part that come down onto his cheekbone. It almost seems like two different colors. Like two different techniques were used. One to get the bulk of the darkness around his eyes, and then just a quick little touch up to make it look a bit messy afterwards. And I could do better than that. Like looking at it, like really looking at that and thinking, yep, I could do better than that if I wanted to take a paintbrush to this thing. Not that I'm going to do that, I'll leave that to the experts, but I don't know. And the makeup for the lipstick around the mouth, that's pretty good. That looks fine to me. I could always go in and make it look a little bit more glossy in parts if I wanted to. That wouldn't take much, but they should have done that for you. There's the other side. Someone did leave a comment earlier saying they might have been referring to this kind of weird dot here. That is actually movie accurate to some part of the movie. I forget, but I've seen the pictures, the stills. I remember when I first saw that years ago, I wasn't sure what was going on. But, for a certain scene in the film, that weird kind of sudden stop and then a dot is actually accurate. So that don't bother me none. I mean, it does kind of jump out at you, but as long as you know that it is accurate to at least one part of the movie, then it's no big deal. But that wouldn't be that hard to get rid of if you really wanted to get rid of that. I mean, obviously, I've had a bit of experience painting figures, but I'm sure I could get rid of that if I wanted to. But like I say, it is accurate a little bit. So I love the way the light is affecting the way the coat looks here. You're getting that kind of more, what I think is a more movie accurate color here. But then as the light's hitting his shoulders, you're getting that nice kind of vibrant purple. And you can see where the magnet is connecting there and keeping that collar down. But that's the head sculpt. That's the main one. That's the one that we'll all get, whether you get the exclusive version or the regular version. This is the head you'll be getting. I just think the eye makeup is a little bit, yeah, not good. Not that good. Ah, damn. And now with the head sculpt kind of tilted back so that he's looking up, the eyes are in an upward position anyway. So if you tilt his head up like this, he looks pretty cool. And it also kind of justifies the fact that there's not one single strand of hair kind of falling around his face, which I would have liked. But then again, the DX11 didn't have that either. In fact, none of the Hot Toys Jokers have ever really had hair falling around the face. Not the way I'd like it to be anyway, but that's more of a thing that you'd get with rooted hair, fake hair. You'd be able to manipulate that and put it wherever you want. But with sculpted, the sculpted hair dictates the kind of position that the head's going to be, positioned. Another accessory that I think would have been cool for this guy would have been a 1/4 scale chair, identical to the one that you got with the DX11 1/6 scale figure. Obviously, they can't give you a table as well, but I think a chair, or at least that kind of bench he's sitting on when Gordon gets promoted and he's sitting there with the coat off and he starts clapping, they could have fit a little cardboard diorama of the background of that cell and just a chair, just so that when he hasn't got the coat and the jacket on, you'd have a nice little diorama display for him. That would have been nice. I'm loving the lighting right now. All right, so getting to his accessories, we have the infamous knife that he would use in quite a few scenes in the film. This is all plastic. None of these accessories are die-cast metal, and they damn well should be for 1/4 scale. At least some of them, anyway. The blade on this should be die-cast at least. But yep, all plastic. Good scale. Fits very good into the hand that it's obviously meant to be in. His thumb even looks like it's pushing the blade out. So that is a pretty cool little accessory there, and he does use that in quite a few scenes. And the detonator from the third act, which is always the point in The Dark Knight where I kind of start thinking, yeah, the film could have ended by now. You know, sacrilegious, everyone loves The Dark Knight. Well, I personally, for those of you that are not familiar with the channel, I hail Batman Begins as the best film of the trilogy, the best superhero film of all time, followed closely by Spider-Man 2, and then possibly, well, any number. So many great superhero films these days. I love a lot of them, man. The first Avengers movie, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi one. Homecoming's great as well. Oh, Infinity War. There's a lot, man. I really like Dawn of Justice, the uncut version, and the Dark Knight trilogy. Not so much with The Dark Knight Rises, but yeah, Batman Begins is my favorite. Probably always will be my favorite Batman movie. It's just absolutely incredible. But yeah, there's a few scenes in The Dark Knight that, with repeat viewing, I do get a little bit weary of. And the scene with the two boats, and the fact that just a lot of things in The Dark Knight that don't really make any sense to me, like how the Joker and his henchmen were able to put that much explosives into Gotham General Hospital and no one found a single suspicious thing anywhere. It's just all there for the convenience of a cool scene. Whereas Batman Begins, I ain't going to get into it. It's just my favorite. I do, I'll give you this. Heath Ledger, his performance as the Joker is the single greatest highlight of the whole trilogy. All three films, his performance is the best thing about all of it. But which film is the best? For me personally, Batman Begins all the way. I absolutely love Heath Ledger as the Joker. Anyway, there's your detonator, and it's very detailed. And I love the key and the little bit of a little loop there. So that jiggles when you move it. Obviously, there's more detail on the other side. I've got to be careful. Don't want to get too rough with it. But yeah, the detail on this thing is quite exceptional. So that's a cool little option for you. You could have him holding the lead pipe with one hand and the detonator in the other. All right, there he is with his lead pipe from the end of the movie. He beats Batman pretty badly with that thing. And that's the reason Batman sounds so, over the top with the voice. That was the last sort of 20 minutes of the movie where he's really like, you don't want to hurt the boy, Harvey. And all that stuff. He's like, he's nursing a broken rib or two, man. He's really messed up because, old Joker here was beating on him real hard with this pipe. So in my head, at least, that's why Batman sounds as extreme as he does vocally those last few scenes in the film, because he's been through some times. But I do like the lead pipe. I've never had this accessory before with a Heath Ledger Joker from Hot Toys, so that's a first. It's not a big deal, but it is a cool little touch, and it's very clear. If you know the movie, you know what scene this is from. So that is cool. Yeah, so just give you a little close-up of the pipe. Pretty simple stuff. Again, could have been die-cast, but it's not. It's plastic. But it looks all right. Does the job. All right, you got a shotgun, and I was just seeing if you'd be able to do the old this kind of position, just relaxed with the shotgun, just resting on the shoulder, back of the neck area there. But you're gonna see the wrist peg quite obviously, and that's quite distracting. And if you tweak the arm a little bit more, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get that a bit more natural looking. But let's change that pose, but just to let you see what that would look like. I think it looks pretty cool, apart from the wrist peg showing. Does look pretty sweet. Okay, there's another view of the shotgun. Nicely detailed, but again, would have been nice for this to be at least part die-cast. But it is all plastic. But it looks very nice. It's painted well. And the, this does move, but it's not spring-based. It just can move into different, front and back positions. Now, there's one thing. See, I've got the fist on that other hand. I really want another hand that kind of, his left hand. Like when I had the shotgun there, I wanted him to be holding, obviously, with the handle and the trigger over here. But I wanted him to have another hand kind of underneath, maybe here or wherever would be safe. I guess holding onto the magazine there. But with the shotgun, I wanted him to be also be holding on to this section here. But I just couldn't find a right hand that could really do that. Now there's something similar, but that's for the left hand. So I mean, there's this. It's close, but then you've got the fingers are all kind of, you know, in this weird position. It's almost like he's throwing up the horns there. Rock on. But yeah, just, and that one's obviously for holding on to, yeah, the grenade rig thing. Yeah, so I can't really get him to hold on to this exactly the way I'd like, but I'll see what I can do. All right, so just a little tip. I want to get him to hold on to the magazine and hold on with this hand over here. So I guess the easiest way to do that is take the magazine out, which you can do, and you can see the bullets inside. Get his hand around it and then put it back in the gun. And then we can get him in the old double-handed thingy situation type thing. All right, there he is. And I think that looks pretty damn awesome. Again, really rushed this one. Just literally got his hand in position, tweaked the coat a tiny bit just to pin it back so you can see the suit underneath. It keeps coming around all the way and just blocking everything. It looks like a big bathrobe. But if you pin it down with the arms, you can get it looking pretty cool like this. But there is how he looks holding on to that gun. Yeah, nicely sculpted, nicely painted. Wish it was die cast. It is just plastic. But the removable magazine certainly makes it easier to get him to hold on to this with both hands. Oh, you know, when he crashed Bruce Wayne's party, I think he was actually holding this when he lifted his arm up and shot that, you know, shot into the ceiling there to get everyone's attention. I don't think it was this gun. I know he used that when he was in the Slaughter 18-wheeler scene and a whole bunch of other times as well. But anyway, I've got him kind of just raising the gun up, about to fire it in the air and get people's attention. So just wanted to throw in a little pose like that, just to let you see that even with the various layers of clothing, you can get the arm up pretty high, and probably even more than that if you wanted to. I just did it quickly just to let you see that you can do it. So you can take out the clip and see the ammo inside. And on this gun, there is actually a spring sort of base system here, so you can see that it does spring back, unlike with the shotgun, or at least my shotgun doesn't do it. Maybe that might be well, I don't think it's an issue. It just doesn't feel like the shotgun is supposed to do that. But this one does, and the magazine comes out. So moving parts, folks. Now this gun I've never had with a Heath Ledger Joker figure before, so it is nice to finally have it, especially in 1/4 scale because the detail is pretty intense. Again, just plastic. It would have been lovely if it was die-cast metal, but even though it's plastic, it does look very impressive. It's very nicely done. Again, moving parts. The barrel spins. The hammer comes back, so that is cool. And Mr. Heath, he's just pointing that at you. It looks awesome. So yeah, I think that's all the guns. Okay, look at that. If you look at some angles here, we get a focus. There you go. It's pretty sweet. So if you do attempt to put the mask over one of these heads, it's going to look the same on either one because it is the same sculpt, hair and face. It's going to look quite funny because the hair is obviously making it spread out quite a bit, and he's got quite a wide face on the mask. But, you know, it will go on there, but it won't look right. I mean, from the side profile, you'd be able to take a few pictures for sure. Certain angles, like there, you'd be able to take your pictures with the mask on him. Maybe take off the coat and just have the bluish grey jacket. It's a little bit closer to how he looked in the bank robbing scene, but obviously not accurate. But, you know, it's basically just something he can hold in his hand, or you can put it on the base, or maybe have the Batman figure holding it. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because I've got a feeling this review is already stretching on to about 50 minutes. So, you know, I want to try and make it under an hour if I can. So I don't want to be messing around with this grenade rig just yet. I will bring you a nice big long pose session video with this figure, all different poses, utilizing all of the accessories. And by that video, I will have installed this grenade rig, so you'll see it then. So, you know, I'm just going to focus on giving you guys a nice comprehensive review for this one. But as far as displaying all the cool accessories with the figure and coming up with the best poses to show them off, that will be coming up in a coming soon video, the pose session video. So you've still got some goodies to look forward to with this one. You've got the comparison between this and the DX11 1/6 scale figure by Hot Toys, which is going to be quite an intense comparison. We're going to be scoring everything from hair, face, paint, clothing, posability, accessories, overall value. It's all going up against each other, so it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. The lighting is really washing out things right now. Let me just turn that down for you. But yeah, you got more coming. I got you. All right, and there he is with the famous pencil. And I like this pose. He's just holding it up, letting you know. Offering up the opportunity to see a particular magic trick. One of Gamble's men was honored enough to experience that firsthand. Lost an eye and died in the process. Baffling how Joker was able to get the pencil to balance on the table like that. So we'll just leave that one to movie movie magic. But it's a very cool accessory, and I'm glad he came with it. Very nicely detailed. It's a very convincing 1/4 scale pencil right there. Yep, just let you get a little close up on it. There's nothing, there's no text, no HP or HB, whatever it was called back in the old school days. It's got an eraser on the end, nice and sharp. 2 packs of 1/4 scale Joker cards, which right at this point in time, like I said, for the sake of trying to keep this review under an hour, we'll maybe get a look at these later on when the pose session comes up. I'll get these out and we can take a look. And also it comes with a hell of a lot of money, but then again, they're all just $1 bills. But they are they double-sided? No. Enter Bay used to do double-sided 1/6 scale money, whereas the Hot Toys ones, in my experience, are usually just one-sided, which is a pain in the butt when you're displaying the money scattered around because they'll blow over and you always have to keep turning them back over to the right way again. So they could have, again, cutting corners, man, cheaping out. It should be double-sided money. And talk about cheaping out, again, just $1 bills. What's up with that? Not even 10, 50s, 100s? Come on. Now I've removed the jacket and the coat again so that we can take a look at the tailoring and the fit of the undergarments, his garbs. Now his shoes are very, very well done and a very movie accurate color from what I remember seeing in the costume test pictures. So they look very good. Could use a little bit of weathering, but that's up to me. That's up to you. Whether you'd want to, you can use, I was talking about this with Nick earlier. He suggests, talcum powder. I remember Rick used to use that as well. But if you do want to weather up your coat a little bit, get it around the collar and just kind of make it look a little bit more weathered, which I probably will do in time. We'll see how I feel. But yeah, a little bit of weathering could be done here and there. But I like the fit. I remember seeing in the blogger pictures, I was very impressed with how the arms were shaped in certain poses, especially when he was sitting down with this look. Now, I don't have a 1/4 scale chair. It would be easy enough just to stack up some Blu-rays or something and get him to sit on those. So I'll think about some sitting poses for you in the pose session. But you have already seen him sitting down in the True Light review outdoors that I shot earlier today in the natural light, and he looked very, very real. It was quite freaky. So gold chain, and that is actually metal, so that's cool. Here's pants, fit very well and hit just the right point as far as the length. Real laces on the shoes and those little holes right at the front that those little blades can go into, like when he crashed the party and he kicked Batman wearing one of these, and you can hear Batman grunt when he gets kicked. I don't know if it went through the armor plating, but the missing button, the second button down on his vest, that's always missing on all the versions of the Joker. It's meant to be. And there's a tie. Some of the ties have been quite dodgy in the past, but this one's pretty good. The collar can be a little bit unruly when you're switching the heads. You'll need to make sure you've got the collar high enough. I think my collar could be a fraction higher there, but it's not too bad. The shirt underneath, well, this shirt is very well done. Really, really solid work on the pattern there. Let's just turn him to the side. You can see how the vest kind of transitions into this other design and other material. You've got your little loop here with the real metal buckle. Again, I've had to change to this style of grabber stand to keep him from falling over constantly, because the one Hot Toys gave you, wherever it is absolutely useless. But yeah, a very good fit, a great body used, and overall the proportions are pretty fantastic, although he may be slightly disproportionate to how Heath actually was. But then again, we are talking about a figure here, so there's only, so far you can go. I mean, it's not like maybe they had his exact measurements, I don't know, but it's good enough as far as all that goes. Basically, the tailoring and clothing, for the most part, for everything we're looking at here at least, has been done very, very, very well. It looks great and it fits great, and it doesn't hinder the articulation. So top marks for everything you're seeing before you right now as far as clothing goes. Very impressive. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap up the review because I don't want it to drag on too long. I know there's other things you want to see. You want to see this figure with the Dark Knight suit Batman figure by Hot Toys. That is coming up soon as well. If I try to cram it into this video, it's going to drag on too long and it won't have the same impact because you'll start to be fatigued from watching this. So I'm going to save a lot for future videos. So you got the comparison between this and the 1/6 scale version, this guy standing beside the Batman that he's meant to be with, and all kinds of other content, the post session, like I said. Anything else that comes up that I need to let you know about, I will do that in future videos as well. So again, keep it locked on the channel for the next few days because there's going to be videos coming up pretty regularly. So thank you very much. Do let me know your thoughts. I almost forgot to give you a score out of 10. Just in case any of you give a damn about stuff like that. I got to be honest with you, some of you might be surprised by this. The score, that as soon as I mention giving him anything out of 10, there is a number that instantly pops in my brain, and I can't ignore the fact that the same number keeps popping up, and it is a 5 out of 10. And the reason, well, we've already been through that during this review, but the lack of evolution when it comes to the hair, as in they should have pushed the boat out, taken the risk, roll the dice and just do rooted hair. They didn't do that. They took away the moving eyes. That was very frustrating, and they give you 2 heads that are the exact same sculpt, just painted slightly differently. So a real big missed opportunity there. And like I said, they've already established so many great things with the previous versions, particularly the DX11, and we just, they took away so much. And I have my suspicions as to why that is, and none of the reasons are good, but it is what it is. This is the one we got in the end. I'd give it a 5 out of 10 because, there's just too many things have been taken away that I miss. Overall, though, it is, as you've seen during the video, he can look fantastic and does look, pretty damn good most of the time. I can't completely diss the figure because it is obviously quite impressive depending on how you got it posed up and, what you got him wearing and stuff. He can look great with the coat as well and the jacket. Once I did that trick where I kind of pinned the coat to his side to get it to kind of come open more, so revealing the suit, I really started to like the coat a lot more. And after seeing, the kind of promotional artwork like this and how bright purple the coat is in this picture, even I know that's not genuinely how it actually looked in real life, but seeing stuff like this does make me feel better about the color of the coat. It is very attractive to see that kind of bright, vibrant purple. And at night it does tone it down a fair bit. So, it is what it is. I give it a 5 out of 10, and let me know your thoughts on that score. But, I got to make it clear, it could have been better. They took a lot of things away that should have been included with this figure. But I still feel a very strong urge to hang on to this piece. I do like it, and I think it'll be interesting to see how I feel as the days progress and as the weeks go on and the dust settles and he becomes a part of the collection and he settles in. He doesn't feel like the new guy anymore. Once all that is done, I'll see how I feel about him then, and I'll keep you guys updated on how I'm feeling about the figure. But I give him a 5 out of 10. I feel a little bit bad giving him a 5. Could easily be a 6, maybe even a 7, but I just, because of the lack of purrs and the sculpted hair, the 2 basically identical head sculpts, and no die-cast weapons, and no thought put into the stand to hold him in secure positions, it's got to be a 5 from me. Keeping it real with you guys, I don't lie to you. I'll tell you how it is. That's how it is for me. It's a 5. All right. Yeah, share the video if you can, guys. Help it get out there, help it get seen. And yeah, leave me a comment below, let me know your thoughts. Hit the like button if you can, and share the video. Check me out on Instagram. Lots of stuff's gone up on Instagram with this figure that you haven't seen anywhere else. I've been putting loads of exclusive clips and pictures on Instagram. Put it on the gram, that's how I do it. And you can click the link underneath the video and do $1 a month on Patreon if you want to support the channel in that way. That's totally up to you. It just helps me bring more reviews like this to you guys, more in-depth reviews, keeping you up to date with the latest releases. That's the goal anyway. And I thank you all very much for your support. All right, guys, more coming soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.